Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
We have a short question for a video request, but it's gonna, because it's short, it's not very terribly specific, so it will require a lengthy answer, but it will be for any of you interested in the real estate market, or I should say interested in the real estate market. Interested in my opinion about the real estate market, because I know most people are interested in the real estate market and very few people are interested in what I have to say. But if you are interested in what I have to say or think, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com, where I, for a fee, will tell you what I think. Aaron, do you have any ideas on starting a business to profit off of the residential real estate market, which I believe is not coming back for a very long time due to unsustainably high prices and the never-ending property tax increases? Ben. All right, so here's the problem with real estate in general. It's location. What works in Chicago ain't going to work in Florida. What works in Florida ain't going to work in Nevada. And what works in Nevada ain't going to work in South Dakota. However, if you're looking at the residential real estate market, chances are you're going to be looking at metropolitan areas and more likely the suburbs. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the macroeconomic observations of the housing markets in general. And then I'm going to give you two ways you can make money that I would look to make money. I can't guarantee you're going to make money, but two places I would go and look to make money. But all of this is couched in the assumption that you're in a area of the country that this is doable. So you may have to move, and this is not going to apply to any one particular city, town, suburb, rural area, but just some general things I've noticed that would apply to the plurality of maybe the housing markets out there in the United States. So first, let's take a look at the overall macroeconomic aspects of housing that I would strongly recommend you follow in general, no matter where you go. One, you want to avoid big liberal cities. Just avoid them. You have to start realizing that because of property taxes, liberal cities, Democrat towns, are nothing but very large homeowners associations where the homeowners association fee goes up way faster than inflation. It's what drove me out of Minneapolis, because I was paying $100 a month and I was paying, paying $1,000 a year and then paying $400. I knew it increased by $4. Then $4,000 a year, and that priced me out of the market. I could no longer afford to live. Well, I could, but I wasn't making profit off of my rental property anymore, and that's why I went into real estate, was to make money. So you want to avoid liberal towns like the plague. Now, that doesn't mean you can't be near liberal towns like the suburbs and then they're typically conservative or Republican. But while you're young, I know there's a lot of, well, let's get into the city. That's where all the action is. Fuck the action. You're here to make profit, not fucking pay some dickwad, dual hyphenated name city councilman more money so they can build a fucking community center at their fucking precinct or their parish, as they call it in Chicago. I would also go south. Look south. You have a general movement of people with money and work ethic, retirement baby boomers, and the people who want to live south because they can and they work hard and they've earned it, moving to the south. Fuck Ohio, fuck Michigan, fuck Illinois, fuck Wisconsin, fuck Minnesota. I do like South Dakota. I like the western states as well, but fuck Washington, fuck Pennsylvania, fuck the Northeast. Mason-Dixon line and south. So you want to go Florida, Texas, Nevada, and those are kind of the key ones that and Tennessee now more recently, because they don't have state income tax. And so I think that's going to be drawing more investment and more people who make more money to those states than other states that are south and certainly nice, like Phoenix or not Arizona, but they have an income tax, and I don't why would you go to Phoenix when you have Las Vegas? There's no income tax. So that's what I would do, is find out where the migration is going. You can certainly do studies on population migration, and you find out there. But Florida is like a big draw, and so is Texas. Those are the two obvious ones. Then once kind of narrowed down to state and your area, you will always want to look at the data from the state demographer site. Every state, I think every state has a state demographer whose job it is to estimate population growth for different zip codes in different areas and different towns. That is going to lay the foundation for you to determine future demand. And there's no guarantee that the state demographer's projections are going to be accurate, but it's better than nothing. And they use pretty good methodologies. State demographers are not your most corrupted or bribable officials. I know everyone's corruptible and bribable, but they're just estimating population growth. Then you will want to conduct an absorption study. Look it up on that area or areas that you're interested in potentially investing in, because an absorption study will compare the increase in demand of housing, namely the population growth, versus the number of new plots of lands that have been plotted or infrastructured for, the number of new houses that are estimated to be, basically you're calculating how many new houses can that market absorb based on population growth, and then you look at, based on plotted land and what are not contracts, however many new permits have been issued and are planned to be issued in that market, and then you get a really good feel for supply and demand, whether or not there's going to be a shortage, or whether there's going to be a surplus and then a glut. You want to avoid crime, and you want to avoid areas that are next to areas that have crime and that are growing in crime. And this then leads to my very, very, very general theory about metropolitan areas and the donut hole. Every metropolitan area is a constantly expanding donut. You do not want to invest in the hole. That is the city. That's where your liberals and your trash and your filth live. Okay? You say, what, inner city? No, not just inner city. There's college students there too. And liberals and trust fund babies who inherited dad's money. All the old money's in there, and they all vote Democrat and left as a socialist, and they hate your fucking guts. You want to get into the donut. Now, the problem is, as the city expands, as we get more immigration with people who vote to take your money away, sorry, it's just true. You're paying me. I'm telling you the facts. I'm not telling you opinion. I'm telling you facts. As more and more socialists, leftists, and parasites come to these cities, and not all immigrants are socialist parasites. Most are, though, based on voting patterns. That donut hole expands and expands. And then the working people get further and further away. So you can kind of see this in some areas, like in Minnesota, the Twin Cities. Richfield was very nice. Maplewood was very nice at one time. St. Louis Park was very nice. Brooklyn Center was very nice. And now it's just, as more and more liberals and leftists and socialists expand, these towns are starting to go to pot and become typically very leftist. It's not even necessarily that the crime goes up, so your property taxes go up, your values go down, and God almighty, it's just a pain in the ass living next to a bunch of liberals. It fucking... Although, I will recommend, this is kind of fun, when you're young, you don't own property, live near the gay part of town. That is fun, serious shit. Like Boys Town in Chicago, or Loring Park in Minneapolis, that is a fun time, man, if you don't own property. But anyway, that aside, from an investment standpoint, you want to get away from the parasites and get with the producers. So now you have to start having these exurbs and these larger areas that go out, and you can do, again, the demographic studies, but look to see where the growth is going. Look to see where people are going for good schools, which can be a risk, because then these, just because they're Republican doesn't mean they're smart either. You get these soccer moms, I'm a good Republican, and then we need to pay more money for the children. Nothing's too good for my children, including your money, childless bachelor man. You should pay more money for my child's teachers, because it's my child, and fuck you. I don't care about you, it's my child. You work more, Aaron Cleary, to pay for my child's shitty-ass public education. It's my child. No, you can't play with my boobies. They're my boobies. I don't care that you gave me free money. They're my boobies. And that's how I view things. Quite literally, Frank, not too far off. How come I gotta pay for your kid and I didn't get to fuck you? That's just saying. You want the truth? Hey, come here. You'll never get this at Bain or McKinsey, not Accenture. They ain't got a guy like me. They'll never will. So that is another thing in the donut. There's a flaw in the donut theory. Nothing's perfect, but you could find these crazy soccer moms who don't know math and vote to increase property taxes so that their children have great education. So ideally, you'd be in that expanding donut hole, or the expanding donut, not the donut hole. And you find a place where there's no kids. Now, this is doable in Florida, where everyone's retired, and Phoenix, where everyone else is retired, and all the old people say, fuck the children. We paid for our own kids. Screw you and your children. We're getting rid of the schools. And that's where you want to be. So, but you got to look out for that as well. And then another flaw with the donut hole, and this is you can find pockets of good real estate markets within the donut hole, but these are typically your cool hipster hangout uptown. Yeah, look, we got a microbrew, and that's yeah, but you're gonna deal with high property taxes, rents, and all that other stuff. So that general theory about how overall, what are the things you would like to find in a macroeconomic housing market? That's just my opinion of what you should be eagle-eyeing for. Now, how you actually make money, there's 3 ways. 1, you're going to rent out a property. Here, a whole host of other questions come in where you got to look at rental rates, you got to look at costs and maintenance and insurance and all that. You should have a very thorough spreadsheet, and in the end, when the rent is all paid, not only should you have money left over, you should have enough money that you were paid for your labor to fix things and find tenants and find all that other stuff and repairs. And you should be compensated for your time. In theory, down the road, your tenants will have paid off all the expenses and the interest and the mortgage, and you will have a free house, and you have a nice retirement egg in about 30 years. But that's the game plan. However, always do background checks, and this is really, really abbreviated. Always do background checks. You never rent to Section 8. No, you do not rent to Section 8. And you make sure that that house is going to be in a good area 15 to 20 years from now. And anytime you think that the donut hole is getting closer to your property, you sell it and then move out further into another expanded donut. So those are just kind of the quick 1-2, but I would definitely recommend reading a book about rental property. Option number 2, you refurbish. I don't want to say flip because there's an element of buy and sell, but you find a rundown place, you refurbish it, you sell for more, you get paid for your sweat equity. I like that a little bit more because it's under your control. You're essentially guaranteeing your own employment, but again, you have to pick the right building, you have to pick the right house, you have to pick the right location, and then you also have to have the skills and tools to do it. If you don't have skills or tools, the last option is become a realtor. And this is a crapshoot. You're just going to sell your ass off. A lot of it depends on luck. A lot of it depends on hustle. And the luck can go both ways. It can be good and it can be bad. I know a guy who busts his ass off. Works harder than a realtor I know. And he gets by, but certainly not worth. He always says he should have just become a teacher.
Just become a teacher? Just a teacher, and I work 9 months a year, and I'll have my pension. What's a defined contribution program? I don't know what that is. My rich engineer husband takes care of the math. He does the finance.
So, but yeah, you can be a realtor. Otherwise, yeah, the problem with housing is it's not like you're on some cutting edge technology. It's a lot of people are in the industry, and there's not like a lot of new ideas with housing. So those are, that's what I'd recommend. If you got a better idea, like also you want to get an agricultural land, or you think there's some oil plays, you want to get into mining and minerals, yeah, you can do that. But just from what you talk about residential, that is a very populated market. There are a lot of workers, movers, shakers, and players in there. But it's just my simple observations, the politically incorrect ones, which are the ones I'm actually allowed to talk about, which means nobody else in the professional industry is talking about it, let alone acting on it. So that gives you hopefully a little bit of an edge. Anyway, best of luck. And if anybody of you guys have questions about anything and you're willing to pay for it, go to assholeconsulting.com, where I'll tell you the blunt goddamn truth. Toodles.